Deuteronomy 16, Passover. People of Israel, you must celebrate Passover in the month of Abib, because one night in that month, years ago, the Lord your God rescued you from Egypt. The Passover sacrifice must be a cow, a sheep, a goat, and you must offer it at the place where the Lord chooses to be worshipped. Eat all of the meat of the Passover sacrifice the same night, but don't serve bread made with yeast at the Passover meal. Serve the same kind of thin bread that you ate when you were slaves suffering in Egypt, and when you had to leave Egypt quickly. As long as you live, this thin bread will remind you of the day you left Egypt. For 7 days following Passover, don't make any bread with yeast. In fact, there should be no yeast anywhere in Israel. Don't offer the Passover sacrifice in just any town where you happen to live. It must be offered at the place where the Lord chooses to be worshipped. Kill the sacrifice at sunset, the time of day when you left Egypt. Then cook it and eat it there at the place of worship, returning to your tent the meeting the next morning. Eat thin bread for the next 6 days. Then on the 7th day, don't do any work. Instead, come together and worship the Lord. The Harvest Festival. 7 weeks after you start your grain harvest, go to the place where the Lord chooses to be worshipped and celebrate the Harvest Festival in honor of the Lord your God. Bring him an offering as large as you can afford, depending on how big a harvest he has given you. Be sure to take along your sons and daughters and all your servants. Also invite the poor, including Levites, foreigners, orphans, and widows. Remember that you used to be slaves in Egypt, so obey these laws. The Festival of Shelters. Moses said to Israel, after you have finished the grain harvest and the grape harvest, take your sons and daughters and all your servants to the place where the Lord chooses to be worshipped. Celebrate the Festival of Shelters for 7 days. Also invite the poor, including Levites, foreigners, orphans, and widows. The Lord will give you big harvest and make you successful in everything you do. You will be completely happy. So celebrate this festival in honor of the Lord your God. 3 festivals at the place of worship. Each year there are 3 festivals when all Israelite men must go to the place where the Lord chooses to be worshipped. These are the Festival of Thin Bread, the Harvest Festival, and the Festival of Shelters. And don't forget to take along a gift for the Lord. The bigger the harvest the Lord gives you, the bigger your gift should be. Treat everyone with justice, Moses said Israel. After you are settled in the towns, then you will receive from the Lord your God. The people in each town must appoint judges and other officers. Those of you that become judges must be completely fair when you make legal decisions, even if someone important is involved. Don't take bribes to give unfair decisions. Bribes keep people who are wise from seeing the truth and turn honest people into liars. People of Israel, if you want to enjoy a long and successful life, make sure that everyone is treated with justice in the land the Lord is giving you. Don't set up sacred poles or stones. When you build the altar for offering sacrifices to the Lord your God, don't set up a sacred pole for the worship of the goddess Asherah, and don't set up a sacred stone. The Lord hates these things. Deuteronomy 17. Sacrifices that have something wrong with them. If an ox or a sheep has something wrong with it, don't offer it as sacrifice to the Lord your God. He'll be disgusted. Put to death people who worship idols. The Lord your God is giving you a town to live in, but later a man or a woman in your town may start worshiping other gods or even the sun, moon, or stars. I have warned you not to worship other gods, because whoever worships them is disobeying the Lord and breaking the agreement He made with you. So when you hear that someone in your town is committing this disgusting sin, you must carefully find out if that person really is guilty. But you will need 2 or 3 witnesses. One witness isn't enough to prove a person guilty. Get rid of those who are guilty of such evil. Take them outside your town gates, and everyone must stone them to death. But the witnesses must be the first to throw stones. Difficult cases. It may be difficult to find out the truth in some legal cases in your town. You may not be able to decide if someone was killed accidentally or murdered, or you may not be able to tell whether an injury or some property damage was done by accident or on purpose. If the case is too difficult, take it to the court at the place where the Lord your God chooses to be worshipped. This court will be made up of one judge and several priests who served at the Lord's altar. They will explain the laws to you and give you their decision about the case. Do exactly what they tell you, or you will be put to death. And others Israelites hear about it, they will be afraid and obey the decisions of the court. The king, people of Israel, after you capture the land the Lord your God is giving you, and after you settle on it, you will say, we want a king just like the nation around us. Go ahead and appoint a king, but make sure that he is an Israelite and that is the one the Lord has chosen. The king should not have any horses, especially those from Egypt. The Lord has said never to go back there again, and the king must not have a lot of wives. They might tempt him to be unfaithful to the Lord. Finally, the king must not try to get huge amounts of silver and gold. The official copy of God's laws will be kept by the priests of the Levite tribe. So as soon as anyone becomes king, he must go to the priest and write out the copy of these laws while they watch. Each day the king must read and obey these laws, so that he will learn to worship the Lord with fear and trembling, and not think that he is better than everyone else. If the king completely obeys the Lord's commands, he and his descendants will rule Israel for many years. Deuteronomy 18. Special privileges for priests and Levites. The people of the Levite tribe, including the priest, will not receive any land. Instead, they will receive part of the sacrifices that are offered to the Lord, because He has promised to provide for them in this way. When you sacrifice a bull or sheep, the priest will be given the shoulder, the jaws, and the stomach. In addition, they will receive the first part of your grain harvest and part of your first batches of wine and olive oil. You must also give them the first wool that is cut from your sheep each year. Give these gifts to the priest because the Lord has chosen them and their descendants out of all the tribes of Israel to be His special servant at the place of worship. Any Levite can leave his hometown and go to the place where the Lord chooses to be worshipped, and then be special servant of the Lord there, just like all the other Levites. Some Levites may have money from selling family possessions, and others may not. All Levites serving at the place of worship will receive the same amount of food from the sacrifice and gifts brought by the people. Don't do disgusting things. Soon you will go into the land that the Lord your God is giving you. The nation that live there do things that are disgusting to the Lord, and you must not follow their example. Don't sacrifice your son or daughter, and don't try to use any kind of magic or witchcraft to tell fortunes or to cast spells or to talk with spirits of the dead. The Lord is disgusted with anyone who does these things, and that's why He will help you destroy the nation that are in the land. Never be guilty of doing any of these disgusting things. A prophet like Moses, you will go in and take the land from nations that practice magic and witchcraft. But the Lord your God won't allow you to do those things. Instead, He will choose one of your own people to be prophet just like me, and you must do what that prophet says. You're asking for a prophet of day. You are gathered at Mount Sinai and said to the Lord, please don't let us hear your voice or see this terrible fire again. If we do, we will die. Then the Lord told me, Moses, they have said the right thing. So when I want to speak to them, I will choose one of them to be a prophet like you. I will give my message to that prophet who will tell the people exactly what I have said. Since the message comes from me, anyone who doesn't obey the message will have to answer to me. But if I haven't spoke, a prophet claims to have a message from me, you must kill the prophet, and you must also kill any prophet who claims to have a message from another God. You may be asking yourselves, how can we tell if a prophet message really comes from the Lord? You will know, because if the Lord says something will happen, it will happen. And if it doesn't, you will know that the prophet was falsely claiming to speak for the Lord. Don't be afraid of any prophet whose message doesn't come from the Lord. Deuteronomy 19, safe towns. Soon you will go into the land and attack the nations. The Lord your God will destroy them and give you their land, towns, and homes. Then after you are settled, you must choose 3 of your towns to be safe towns. Divide the land into 3 regions with one safe town near the middle of each, so that safe town can be easily reached from anywhere in your land. Then if one of you accidentally kills someone, you can run to the safe town and find protection from being put to death. But you must not have been angry with the person you killed. For example, suppose you and a friend go into the forest to cut wood. You are chopping down a tree with an ox. When the ox had slipped off the handle, hit your friend and kills him. You can run to one of the safe towns and save your life. You don't deserve to die. Since you did not mean to harm your friends, but he did get killed, and his relatives might be very angry. They might even choose one of men from their family to track you down and kill you. If it is too far to one of the safe towns, the victim's relative might be able to catch you and kill you. That's why I said there must be 3 safe towns. Israel, the Lord your God, has promised that if you obey His laws and teaching I am giving you, and if you always love Him, then He will give you the land He promised to your ancestors. When that happens, you must name 3 more safe towns in the new territory. You will need them so innocent people won't be killed on your land while they are trying to reach a safe town that is too far away. You'll be guilty of murder if innocent people lose their lives because you didn't name enough safe towns in the land the Lord your God will give you. But what if you really do commit murder? Suppose one of you hates your neighbor, so you wait in a deserted place, kill the neighbor, and run to a safe town. If that happens, the leaders of your town must send messengers to bring you back from the safe town. They will hand you over to one of the victim's relatives, who will put you to death. Israel, for the good of the whole country, you must kill anyone who murders an innocent person. Never show mercy to the murderer. Proper lines. In the land the Lord is giving you, there are already stones set up to mark the property lines between fields. So don't move those stones. Witnesses must tell the truth. Before you are convicted of crime, at least 2 witnesses must be able to testify that you did it. If you accuse someone of crime but seem to be lying, then both you and the accused must be taken to the court at the place where the Lord is worshipped. There the priests and judges will find out if you are lying or telling the truth. If you are lying and the accused is innocent, then you will be punished without mercy. You will receive the same punishment the accused would be received if found guilty. Whether it means losing an eye, a tooth, a hand, a foot, or even your life. Israel, the crime of telling lies in court must be punished. When people hear what happens to witnesses that lie, everyone else who testifies in court will tell the truth.